Hello, cannolis, and welcome to another episode of the Positude Podcast. I'm your host, Maggie Hart. And yes, in case you missed 2 weeks ago, that was new introductory music. I created 4 or 5 through AI, and my plan is every week to play a different one and have you vote to pick the permanent song. The one 2 weeks ago was very popular. It was a female jazz version. That one really lit up. People seem to like it. This is kind of like a rocky version. Not crazy about the lyrics. It didn't pop in the right lyrics that I typed in, but that's okay. I wanted to see what you thought. And as I said, based on votes, you guys are going to choose what my permanent theme music will be. I'm still going to play some music from my good buddy Pat Carr, who's allowed me to play his music on my show for years and years now, and my good buddy Barry Cooney and the other band that I'm contracted with. But I needed something different, a little bit more kind of modern. And so here we are. And boy, I did it in like 5-10 minutes, and I am not computer literate. So that should give hope to all of you guys out there that aren't very good with computers. If I could do it, anybody can. And let me reiterate that it does not replace by any means the beauty and wonder of an original artist and actual musicians. However, I did the best with what I had, and I think some of them are pretty snappy. I'm pretty happy with them. Who knows what surprises I'll be forced to create on my own with the help of some friends that are actually really good friends, because, you know, there's some stuff I've been waiting on for a really long time that I need to get done, like, over a year now. So it seems like it's time for me to start taking matters into my own hands and creating things on my own. So guess what? You get to enjoy the journey with me. I do want to take a couple of seconds to talk about my new book that I am setting up a way to take pre-orders for as we speak. It's called The Guardian Codex, Manual of the Heart Warrior. This book is unlike anything that you've ever had in your hands. I promise you. If you email me at Maggie, MAGGIE _heart, HEART @outlook.com, I will send you a link so that you can get a really cool preview of the book. Inside its pages, you will find a book that doesn't train fighters. It trains guardians, people who can stand their ground without becoming a threat to themselves or others. Inside its pages, you'll find techniques to regulate your nervous system under pressure, methods to sharpen your perception, focus, and emotional neutrality, non-lethal ways to influence, de-escalate, and protect, training to remain centered in chaos, physically, mentally, and ethically. There are no beliefs to adopt, only practices. Practices that make you harder to destabilize, harder to manipulate, harder to turn into something you're not. This book was not written to entertain you. It was built to reconstruct you, to turn anxiety into presence, fear into clarity, and reaction into choice. You are not here to dominate. You are here to remain sovereign. This book has teeth, but they are not bared in rage. They are held in restraint. The Guardian Codex teaches you how to be powerful without becoming reckless, calm without becoming passive, and disciplined without becoming rigid. It trains you to move through pressure without collapsing, to face conflict without losing coherence, and to act with clarity when others freeze, panic, or lash out. This system was designed to be portable. It adapts wherever humans gather, where awareness, boundary control, and nervous system mastery are the true force multipliers. This is not about learning how to fight. It's about learning how not to be taken by fear, by manipulation, or by anyone who thinks you are easy to move. Just human beings learning how to stay present under threat and act from coherence instead of impulse. You don't become dangerous by losing control. You become dangerous by keeping it. The Guardian Codex is for those who choose to stand awake in a world that profits from people being reactive, distracted, and afraid. Welcome to the quiet side of power. I've written this book for people who are developing homesteading communities, for families that want to work as a unit to keep themselves safe. This can be used by military training groups, police training groups. It can be used for women's self-defense programs. It can even be utilized by corporations as a long-term team bonding exercise to bring your group together into a more cohesive unit that think and act more as one. And it's an amazing tool. And I've been waiting since December for some things to get done with it, and I'm tired of waiting. The time for this book is now. This is the time that people should be purchasing this book, opening the pages, diving in, and being able to practice all of the exercises that are involved and gain all of the knowledge that's contained before the crap hits the fan. So timeliness is very important. And for some things that are out of my control, as I said, I've been waiting since December and I can't wait anymore. People need to have this in their hands. It's going to keep people safe. It's going to potentially save lives. It's going to help people help other people. And the premise behind this book, just as the ones that I have written for children, to help them use their energy to protect themselves and not be scared of things that maybe your typical person might not see or sense, i.e. for the gifted children that see things and sense things that aren't there. Even though we're all gifted, some children are more open than others. This is a tool that can and will change lives. The premise behind it is so incredibly powerful to me because just like my children's books and just like the layout for my original Positude podcast and now the subsequent one, this was all given to me in prayer, vision, and meditation. And just as my books have helped so many children, I want to offer this to the public to be able to help people help each other. It's so important and it's so necessary right now. And having a physical copy of this manual, should the grid go down or should there be a catastrophic experience for some of us or all of us on the planet, it's absolutely vital that I'm able to get this out there for people who will need it. And if you'd like to help me in any way with my efforts, you can email me as well. I'm thankful for legitimate people who are looking to work together with me to be able to help humanity as a whole. I'm done with lip service though, so if you're gonna put it out there and not follow through, don't waste your time and bother me, please. I take my work very seriously, and out of all the things that I've done in my life to aid and assist other people and help them along their paths, this book is truly one of, if not the most important ventures that I've ever embarked on. One copy in the right person's hands can affect dozens of people positively, and hundreds of books in the hands of the right people could potentially affect millions. Humanity needs this resource right now, and I have to do everything that I can to let people know about it and to make it available to them. So let's get into the clippies for tonight. Starting off with the data centers, and they're eating the grid. I don't know what timeline we're in anymore, but it feels like humanity accidentally clicked accept all cookies, because every week the news sounds less like journalism and more like a panic attack written by ChatGPT after 3 espressos. So apparently they found a bomb in the drinking water source for Mobile, Alabama, by accident. That's the important part. Not during an investigation. Not because somebody warned them. Nope. Just some guy probably showed up to work like, hey, Earl, why is there a bomb floating next to the water intake? But seriously, somewhere there's a government official like, the good news is we found it. That's not good news. That's the minimum requirement. And about 50,000 people around Lake Tahoe may need a new power source because the energy is getting rerouted to data centers. That's where we are now. Humans are losing electricity so servers can think harder about advertising socks to us. Oh yeah, and potentially used to control us. But imagine explaining this to somebody from 100 years ago. Well, we sacrificed that power grid so a robot could generate anime girlfriends faster. And these data centers are everywhere now. We've been talking about this. There's even a woman saying Georgia Power is taking her family home and land for one. That's dystopian. Imagine somebody knocking on your door like, ma'am, we need your property. For what? A warehouse full of overheating computers? At this point, the machines aren't taking over violently. They're just raising our utility bills until we surrender. And I got some health stories, one of which pineapple potentially heals broken bones. Do you love that energy? How I can go from the grid is collapsing to have you tried fruit in under 6 seconds? And I got another section on ticks tonight because this is going to be a hot topic this summer and I need everybody to be aware and protect themselves and their families as best they can. And I'm glad that people are starting to get serious about protecting protecting themselves from the ticks because these little things used to just quietly wait in the grass. And now people are swearing they're actively chasing them. That's a clippy that I have for you. But it makes ticks feel less like insects and more like tiny unpaid assassins. What were they programmed to do? Are these real ticks? It sounds as though they've been modified in some way, which, you know what? We kind of figured that given the vaccine that's coming out to prevent Lyme disease, right? But chasing people? The bad guys have upped their game, it sounds like. So I've got some more clippies about herbs you can plant in your yard, natural repellents, way to make your property less attractive to ticks, and practical advice is what we need right now. Because if they're lab modified, I'm thinking they're probably made to be resistant toward the chemical products that are on the market. And I'm hoping and praying that the all-natural stuff is more effective. Still, before I recommend everybody go out and buy a flamethrower. Because tiny little vampires with commitment issues are not something that I want myself, my family, or my pets subjected to. I mean, they used to wait politely in bushes. Now they're pursuing targets. That's not a parasite anymore. That's an employee. And I got a clippy about cleaning your liver and losing your belly fat because that seems to have been a hot topic of conversation on the internet the last week. So I figured I'd jump on the bandwagon. Of course, I'm sharing my tips with my audience because they're what?
Savvy?
You know it. And my audience is the type that is looking to research things like this because their metabolism slowed down. Not because they went through the drive up at 3 different fast food restaurants in the same day, ate about 3,000 calories, and are wondering why they're gaining weight. Because that's pretty much who the rest of the internet is targeting with their promotional videos. People who just don't have the common sense to know, hey, if I don't eat all this crap, maybe I won't gain 50 pounds. And there's this old CIA-related video floating around online, and apparently it's been banned on certain platforms for like 40 years. And while the CIA experience might sound like an opening band for 9 Inch Nails, this clippy might surprise you to find out how long they've been plotting our demise. Allegedly, of course. I've got a triple shot of short and clippies from a lady whose channel I really like who goes over a bunch of conspiracy theories in one shot. So she covers a lot of ground. And then I got one about demons summoned by witches, used in projects like CERN, but the witches were used by the government? So does that mean the sequel for Men Who Stare at Goats would be entitled Hags That Stare at Hadron Colliders? And those Iranian Lego videos that are so popular because their trolling skills are off the charts, let's be honest, have been banned from YouTube because they're propaganda. However, Israel's are just fine. Surprise, surprise. These narratives violate policy, but those narratives are monetized. And I got a clippy about Walmart buying Vizio TVs. So now your television, which we kind of already knew, but now they're really spying on you. That's terrifying because my TV has seen me at my lowest. Weird documentaries, singing off key to rockumentaries, yelling at the New Year's Eve ball to bring back Dick Clark and normalize their celebrations again and stop the freak shows. I don't need surveillance capitalism seeing me in my comfy clothes with my big cup of coffee yelling at the puppies for spilling it for the 100th time or for slurping it down when I'm not looking. Speaking of which, are you in your comfy clothes? You got your cup of coffee and your snacky snack? Because I also got a clippy that might surprise you talking about common sayings that originally meant the opposite of what we use them for now. So basically, humanity has been playing the telephone game for centuries. Historians are basically human pop-up ads anyway. Nobody asked, but suddenly, here's the original context from 1437. But in this case, I think it was an instance of the bad guys trying to take our power away from us again. You'll have to listen and see what you think. But that might be the real theme of modern life. Nobody knows what anything means anymore. The grid's unstable. The techs are hunting us. The televisions are listening. The demons are apparently filing paperwork at CERN. And fruit may or may not heal your skeleton. Every headline feels like, here's your sign. Good morning. Another reason to live in the woods. When truthfully, humanity has always been kind of weird. We just finally have Wi-Fi cameras and comment sections to document it in real time. And I don't have a clip yet about it, but I wanted to briefly mention the fact that the internet does what it always does during political seasons, right? It turns into WebMD for presidents. It's been going on for a couple of months, but people are now all of a sudden watching every public appearance of Donald Trump frame by frame, analyzing facial expressions like it's the Zapruder film, and all this chatter online about him seeming confused during conferences. So naturally, the rumor mill immediately goes to he's unwell. I mean, let's face it, the internet diagnoses people faster than actual doctors do now. A politician clears their throat and suddenly body double, clone, neurological event, Mercury retrograde. And while that may be true for people like Sleepy Joe, is Trump's body double or clone sick? Because we know it's not the real one. Look at the height differences when he's standing next to people like King Charles. But let's face it, with all the craziness that's going on, nobody just gets tired anymore, right? You can't even blink weird in public. And the second somebody pauses too long at a podium, we're looking for eye glitching and freezing. Millions of people online become medical experts. Your qualifications are 3 podcasts, half a YouTube documentary, and surviving Facebook in 2020, but okay. But lately, politics does kind of feel less like government lately and more like watching aging rock stars continue the farewell tour. It's like tonight on TMZ Neurology. Basically, every politician looks exhausted lately anyway, because the Epstein files still haven't been released, and it kind of looks like a group project fueled by caffeine and panic, doesn't it? Which is surprising considering most of us normal people with brains kind of feel like nothing's ever going to happen with that, right? But then again, my listeners don't have guilty consciences either. And nowadays, when he looks confused, the data centers are controlling him through the smart refrigerator probably is more of a likelihood than a clone. I guess I'd look kind of confused too if I had to wake up every day and get briefed on this timeline. At that point, I'd kind of be like, maybe that pizza guy really did disappear a couple weeks ago on that Clippy. So we got all that much to cover and so much more. Stay tuned, folks. I'm gonna grab myself a hot coffee refill while you're listening to the disclaimer, and then we'll get started.
The opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and possibly her pets, who occasionally walk across the keyboard, jingle their collars, drink some water when they can't steal mom's coffee, growl while wrestling with their siblings, and even snore at high volumes when they feel slighted and are bored. Any resemblance to actual facts is purely coincidental, and this show is solely for entertainment purposes only. Wink, wink, nod, nod. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, sometimes our brains run on coffee and wishful thinking, and possibly a conspiracy theory or two. This broadcast may contain traces of sarcasm, bad puns, and music to make you dance. Side effects may include spontaneous laughter, eyebrow raises, and the uncontrollable urge to sing along. Listen responsibly.
First up, a triple shot from Glenn Beck, Pamela Houseworth, and Doge 007.
Current events and politics. Get your current events and politics here. Over here, Mac. Pay attention to what's going on in the world. You need to know this stuff. Use your discernment and see what you think. What resonates with you?
There's an unprecedented threat that we just found by accident. They were repairing a dam at Big Creek Lake. That is a 3,600-acre lake, a reservoir that holds about 17 billion gallons of drinking water. It is the main source of drinking water for Mobile, Alabama, and they found an explosive device just under the water line, accidentally. We don't have much more information than that, other than things are looking like they might get really serious.
50,000 Lake Tahoe residents were just told yesterday that they're going to have to find a different power source because their power company is going to redirect all of its power to the data centers. If you think that this is not going to happen to you or it's not going to come to your neighborhood, you are sadly mistaken. Y'all better get ready. 50,000 people were told they better find power somewhere else and however else, because their current power company is no longer going to provide it, because the data centers need it more than the residents.
Hey you guys, my name's Ansley. I live in Coweta County, Georgia. I wanted to come out here and show you guys firsthand what is happening to our county. So as you can see behind me, we have these power lines. Georgia Power is going to expand these lines to support power to the data center. What they're doing to homeowners is they're taking their homes. This is my childhood home behind me. It is being taken by force by Georgia Power. Homeowners in this county do not have a choice. It is called eminent domain, and they will take it.
Next up from AI Rise. This is a clippy of what those data centers sound like from a half mile away. You're going to hear the daytime noise, and then about halfway through, it's going to go to the noise at 1 a.m. It's crazy how loud these things are. So if they put one of these near you, say goodbye to hearing your sounds in nature, your crickets and your peepers and all of the other sounds that you might normally hear, because you're going to hear this instead. People need to be stepping up in their communities and joining together and getting prepared in case they decide they want to put one by you. And if they're talking about it, you need to come together and fight this. It's bad for nature, the animals. It's bad for you, your health. They're noisy, and as the last video speaks to, they can come and take your property anytime they want. Now, of course, they're going to give these people money for their home, whether it's a fair market value. They don't want to sell their house. The fact that they have to sell their house alone. And then the energy grids and how you've got power companies that have supported communities probably since they've been communities. Now they're just left in the lurch with no power company because the power companies are going to give all the energy to these centers, and these centers will be made allegedly to control us and take away our privacy. And that's from a half mile away. Can you imagine being right on top of one of those things? Okay, the next triple shot from Organic Chaos is kind of lengthy, and they are shortened clips in the essence of time, but there's a lot of information in here, so see what you think.
I need to come up with more conspiracy theories because all of my other ones already came true. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is all allegedly. Who you calling crazy? Don't make me call my Uncle Tony to straighten you out.
Some congressmen called pastors into this massive meeting to prepare them for this crazy event that might happen, to be able to prepare other people. Then there was a retraction from one of those pastors. One of those pastors said, this came out in the meeting, we were informed of something that might be taking place, just going to shake the world upside down. Then the pastor retracted and said, oh, no, they just basically said we were doing a great job pulling people into Jesus. And then people in the comments were like, well, that sounds a little interesting. That sounds a little suspicious. I picture the boardroom, and they're like, how about we roll out the UFOs? And they're like, great, you handle that one, Frank. Anyone else? Let's do another virus. And they're like, I don't know, that sounds a little repetitive. Don't you think that they'll maybe learn some things? And I don't really care. Let's just throw it at them and see. But this time it'll be rolled out in a little different way. So stick with me, because it only gets more interesting. Antivirus, a lot of really weird things of what's going on. There is this very expensive cruise that I guess is a 33-day cruise. We know about that number, 33.
Pretty what?
I guess it costs $30K. So this is not just some chump change cruise. This is a big cruise. From Argentina, goes through Antarctica, goes to South Africa. So apparently some weird connections with this one influencer guy that just blew up on people's feeds recently because he filmed how horrific this cruise was and people are dying and how serious this is. Hantavirus is typically from feces from rats. That's how you get it.
Rats on a cruise.
But then there's different strains of the hantavirus.
Like any virus.
Right, hantavirus. So then there's one that's the anti-strain. That can human-to-human contact is how you can get it. Super bad respiratory. There's a Simpsons episode.
Okay. Wonderful. Oh.
A couple of really weird things. Gene Hackman passed away from the hantavirus.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Stick with me, because it only gets weirder. Did they plant a seed back when Gene Hackman passed away? Fast forwarding to this cruise, another weird thing that is happening is the World Cup. Ironically, the cruise left Argentina I guess the first person that contracted this was from a bird tour in Argentina. Ironically, Argentina pulled out of the World Health Organization in March. This guy, Jake, that posted this video, a little odd that he didn't really have like a big, huge following or a huge engagement on his page. Then he did this partnership with this cruise line. His is the only video that is posted from the cruise. So you think of over 100 people, I think it's 147 people on this cruise. He's the only one that has posted. That's a little odd. He didn't have a whole lot of traction before, yet he's getting these partnership opportunities for a very expensive cruise. That's a little strange too. When you think of the last virus we had, there was allegedly the rollout of 5G, which essentially it is like a microwave of radiation. So if you think of so you think of these exposure, and then you think of this microwave from 5G, which allegedly might have happened 6 years ago. Fast forward to now, 2026, 6G is possibly being rolled out. Are we clocking? This is where it gets weird. There was someone who tweeted about the virus 6 years ago, and then also in 2023, I think, tweeted 2026 hantavirus. That's a little weird. I feel at this point that we are all kind of like, yeah, we know this playbook. Like, we already know. It's like a series of movies that we've watched and devoured and know every next move. There's like we know this movie already. World Cup is happening from June 11th to June 19th. That's a little odd. The whole rollout, right? The whole rollout of this is allegedly a little odd. Wait. Wasn't 2012 when CERN wasn't that supposedly?
They did a mass. I think they did a mass.
So that's 2012 was when that Simpsons episode came out for this cruise. I didn't factor in that what's in the files about talking about how to hijack our immune system and the major outbreak of ticks. And,
I know about that.
And the hantavirus. And the pastors being called in.
And pre-print meat. What do you think about that? If you can't eat typical red meat, and then they're like, oh no, you can't eat typical red meat, but you can eat our farm-fed meat. That's good for you. You're okay to eat our protein. Soylent Green.
Allegedly. This is all alleged and for education and entertainment purposes. There are some things that people pointed out that I feel like need some mentioning. One is this whole hantavirus cruise ship fiasco. Is this a misdirection from what happened with Disney Cruise Line? Covering up what was going on over here with the Disney Cruise Line. Disney Cruise Line, they arrested over 20 people. I think I saw it, 26, 28 people.
Was that the cruise ship that was, I thought it wasn't a Disney, I thought it was like a European cruise ship.
Disney cruise ship, a key ring of
Oh.
people from all around the world,
that's not right.
which I know this because I worked on the Disney cruise ship. I know that there are employees from all around the world from working on the Disney cruise ship. Weird things about the Disney cruise ship that I was on. We went to some islands. St. Martin, St. Thomas, guess what's around there? Okay, so people are pointing out the connection, perhaps, of what is happening with the Disney cruise ship right now, and also that one of the Disney lines out of Singapore, I think a couple days ago, just everyone had gotten on the cruise ship, and then they canceled that cruise. Like, people had to get off the cruise ship. That is this a cover-up for what Disney was going on. A couple other things to point out about Jake, the influencer who got his big brand deal on this cruise line.
Different one, yep.
This where I guess some people are connecting, if you don't have that large of a following, which I understand that, you're not going to get this huge brand deal. Also, if you have a brand deal, you wouldn't be posting about it in a negative way towards this is what's happening, this is very scary. You wouldn't. You sign contracts. There are things that are put into place before. This is where it gets very interesting. Jake's sister works for Haggerty Emergency Management and Disaster Recovery, including health crisis connections with ARMA. This cruise line was going under, and an investment firm that bought it out also has its hands heavily into pharma investments.
Allegedly.
We've learned about central casting. We've learned about crisis actors. What I think is kind of beautiful is that people are already steps ahead and connecting the dots.
Next up, I got the tick segment. Dr. Tanya Elliott, Melanskia. Dr. Letitia Pestova. Is her name really Pestova? That's funny. Pests, ticks. News updates for real, and Tony Farmer's Garden.
Hey, here is some healing and meditation and useful survival stuff for you to consider. Use at your own risk.
Woo! It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom.
Okay, so really quick, here's a hack for ticks when you're outdoors this summer. I'm Dr. Tanya Elliott, board-certified internal medicine specialist and allergist. A lint roller. So if you bring a lint roller with you, and as you're hiking, every couple of hours, especially after you've been in tall grass or brushed up against leaves, literally just do this on your arms and on your legs. And another great hack, take some tape, sticky side out, and wrap it around your ankles right above your shoes. And this one is great for kids, too. This will help catch anything trying to crawl up your legs when you're hiking.
Tick, tick, boom.
3 herbs we use to protect our families from ticks in the Amish community. First is thyme. We plant this around the borders of our homes because it releases thymol. That's nature's tick repellent. We grow it alongside rosemary and lavender, and together they create a powerhouse barrier that keeps those pests away from your door. Second is catnip. This plant contains nephidolactone, which is 10 times more effective than the chemicals found in store-bought sprays. When you plant it in your garden beds, you're creating a shield. Third is sweet wormwood. This plant emits a scent that drives ticks right out of your yard. If you want more Amish wisdom like this, make sure you follow me.
Tick, tick, boom.
Ticks hate bacitracin. Bacitracin can be found in triple antibiotic ointment. What you do is you put a little bit at the end of a Q-tip and you rub it in a circular motion on the tick for about 60 seconds and it will release. And then you take it out, and since it's triple antibiotic ointment anyways, it prevents secondary infections from the initial bite.
Tick, tick, boom.
Houston, we have a problem. The ticks have become even more aggressive. This is from a Russian biologist. Apparently ticks are literally now hunting people, chasing their victims. That is not normal. It's a specific tick. They are resistant to hunger, extreme weather conditions, and aerosol sprays. Yeah, they've created a super bioweapon. It's absolutely terrifying what they're doing. We should maybe tell our scientists to stop playing God and stop biologically manufacturing insects into disease-carrying weapons.
Tick, tick, boom.
Last year I made a video about organic mosquito control that went viral. Like 7 million people viewed it, and so it's probably time to revisit it because it's inexpensive, it's organic, and it really works quite well for most people. So all you need is a container that will hold water. The original recommendation was a big 5-gallon bucket, but you can use anything that you have as long as there's not a hole in the bottom. You need some organic material. I'm just throwing some weeds in here. Don't throw too much, I'll explain. So just like a handful or two in the water. And then these are called mosquito dunks. This is just BT. It's a naturally occurring bacteria that is not harmful to humans or pets or pollinators. It's not going to hurt anybody. And I'm just going to put, it really just calls for a quarter of a dunk. So these will go a long way. I'm going to throw half of one in here right now. I like that. So what this does is mosquitoes are attracted to carbon dioxide. This is how they find you. You sit down in the garden or on your patio, and within minutes, they're all over you. They're attracted to your exhale of carbon dioxide. So the greens in here will start to ferment over a couple of days, and that produces carbon dioxide, and the mosquitoes will go looking for it. And then mosquitoes are one of the insects that lays their eggs in water, and the BT is toxic to the eggs. It will kill them. It's not going to kill the mosquitoes, just the larva. This makes it safe for bees and other pollinators because they don't lay their eggs in water. They lay them on leaves and in other places. And so what will happen is the mosquitoes, as they start to show up, they haven't shown up yet, this is the perfect time to put this out. They will be attracted by the carbon dioxide. They'll lay their eggs in here. Then those mosquitoes will fly away. They don't have a long life cycle. Within a few weeks, they'll die, but the life cycle is interrupted now. There's no babies to take their place. So don't put this near you. Don't put this on your patio or your deck and bring them to you. Hide them around your garden. I've got about a half an acre back here. I'm going to use 3 buckets in my backyard, and I'm going to use 1 in my front. It did a phenomenal job controlling mosquitoes last year. And then every 3 weeks or so, dump most of the water out, not all of it. Put some fresh handful of greens in there, fill it back up to 3/4, put a fresh half of a dunk in here, and it will start to repeat the cycle over and over again. If you have mosquitoes starting to show up all the time again, it's probably time to dump this. If this stinks, it just means you put too much organic material in here. You only need just enough to start that carbon dioxide from happening. So
Next up from Holistic Health and Knowledge and Mungchin AI, the pineapple one and the one about cleaning your liver and belly fat.
Does everybody know what the bone growth hormone stimulator is? Yeah. It's pineapple, like I said in the book, to help heal and regenerate bones. Pineapple helps if you I don't know if you've ever seen under a microscope. Bones, they have like a web system that grows out and then it fills in. And pineapple, for some reason, stimulates this. I had pineapple every day. I had a cup of it every day when I broke this leg. Because, I split that tibia in two, and it was separated in the back. And they wanted to go in and push it back together and pin it. Plus, the tibia, the top of the tibia looks like this, and the bottom of the femur sits on it like this. I broke off the top of the tibia and it jammed up in the femur. They said that there's no way that the body can dissolve that and get rid of it, that they'd have to go in surgically, cut me from here to here, open up the leg, and do all this surgery. And I said, if I do that, it's going to take me 5-7 years to heal just from your surgery. I can eat pineapple.